form, capable to change, to change, to change, to change, to change.
I tumbled and fumbled around instead. You know my head is like a Rubik's Cube. Except all them colors turn to blue. Unless I'm tumbling and fumbling with you. I'm tumbling and fumbling. I'm tumbling and fumbling. I'm tumbling and fumbling. So turn my colors, baby, but just to prepare. 1 cube, 6 size, 9 stickers on nails, 54 squares. Turn my grooves, if you figure me out, I give you 20 moves. It's just a cube. Why does it feel like I got something to prove to you?
The cube, capable to change. The cube, without special. The cube, finally I succeed. The cube, nowadays, the cube.
Do you remember the first time you saw
The
it?
cube.
Why do you think the cube is so popular?
The cube became popular.
We are live. Hello, everybody.
Evening.
Evening, mate.
Evening. I see someone in the chat already, and they're already getting the snagging in on me. My God, you can't even get through a second of the show without being snagged off. We'll get to that person pretty soon. How's everything, lads? All good, Richie?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. Yeah, not too bad.
No, you're not plotting, Richie. That's always a bonus.
No, I'm not too bad today.
Yeah, good. Oh, we just before we went live, we were talking about cars, we were talking about working from home and things like that. Before we went live, but we wanted to talk about a bit of Newcastle as well. But yeah, as we talked about the other day, great result for Newcastle against Brentford, the 5-1 at the weekend, and we are looking forward to the Man U game coming up on Sunday, which won't be on TV, but we're looking forward to it anyway. Will we get straight into it, lads, or is there any burning questions you want to bring up straight away?
No, I'm just frantically sending a tweet out because I didn't send out a tweet before the show, to say for people to come and join us. So anyone who's watching and you fancy joining us, please do. The link is below on the screen now. So if you want to hop on and join us, please do, because we'd love to hear from you and talk, all things Newcastle or anything else you want to talk about. So we could talk about cars, we could talk about whatever you want. That's what we were doing before the show, weren't we, Dan? Talk about working from home, whatever you fancy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's get our first guest out, and he obviously wants to talk about the Smurfs. So let's bring out Jimmy. All right, Jimmy.
Yes, Jimmy.
Hello. How are you all doing?
I'm good.
Good, mate. Good.
How about you, though, Jimmy? How are you?
I'm doing good. 8 days straight now off the ventilator. So,
Well done, man.
Fantastic.
Yeah, never thought I would get to this point. So, but
That's wonderful, mate.
With that being said, glad you liked my Daz as a Smurf. So
You can't see it yet. We get rid of that comment, you'll be able to see it there.
Yeah, let's get it off. I want to see it.
Yeah, look at it. That's the abuse I get. Why are you Smurf?
You're gonna have to put some blue face paint on there next time you're on, Daz. You're gonna have to get the white hat, maybe.
Get the Smurfs as my background if you want.
There you go. Now you're talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a match! What a match!
Yeah.
I mean, 2 weeks in a row where I haven't had to worry. I mean, it's been relaxing watching them play. It's nice. I mean, you can always be, find something to criticize, but 5-1, I'm not gonna criticize anything. I'm happy. I like our form going into the old Crapford, and it's. They're coming off a win. They've got a little momentum. They've got they beat Everton and they beat Sheriff. So I mean, not exactly murderer's row, but I feel good. I haven't felt this good about a Man U game in a while.
It's interesting, isn't it, Jimmy? Because we were talking about this. We were talking about this the other day, saying, well, I mentioned it, and the boys backed me up, that it's funny watching Newcastle at the moment, because not only are we playing well, picking up points, and I think we've lost one game this season, which was, as you know, a last minute goal to concede against Liverpool at Anfield, but it's the manner of how we're winning the games, isn't it? It's the way that we're dominating the game, and we're just not used to seeing that as as Newcastle fans. We haven't seen it for a long time. I mean, what are you enjoying most, Jimmy, about the performances? Like, what for you? What's standing out? What's making you look forward to watching a Newcastle game at the minute?
The fact that we don't have to worry about Wilson being our only goal scorer.
Yeah,
that's a key. Yeah, it's a key.
We're getting contributions from everyone. I mean, Jack Grealish has made Miggy into a Ballon d'Or winner. I mean, it's fun to watch it all come together. And Bruno's just,
different level.
God just dropped him into our hands. But it still pisses me off when I hear these pundits say he's a luxury player for Newcastle. If he plays for any big six club, he's not a luxury. But the fact he's with us, they still haven't gotten over the fact that Newcastle is a destination can be a destination for great players. So,
Jimmy? What do you make about the talk?
Come.
I was going to say, Jimmy, what do you make about the talk that there's rumours that Newcastle might be offering Bruno an extended, improved contract already, just to put a bit of a better buyout clause and stuff? Do you think that's the right thing to do, or do you think it's a little bit too early still?
Smart. You hear of Leicester trying to do that with Madison. It just protects the asset. If you want to drop an incredibly outrageous release clause in there, then fine. But people are going to keep sniffing around. Yeah. He's our best player. Trippier is our most influential player, but Bruno's the best.
Yeah. I agree. We've seen a lot of talk this week, Jimmy, of people. It may be a bit early to say. You may think it is, you may think it's not, but we've seen a lot of people this week talking about Bruno and saying that perhaps he's one of the best players we've ever seen in a black and white shirt. He's in the all-time 11. He's the best midfielder we've seen, and I've seen him being compared to the likes of Gary Speed, Rob Lee, etc., etc. Where does he rank for you at this present moment? Like, do you think it's a bit too soon for that, or do you think he is, one of our better players? I also seen him linked. Not linked. I also saw him compared with Yohan Cabaye. Do you think that's a bit too soon or too much, or?
Yeah, gotta give him a little more time. Of course, we didn't have broadcast rights over here back in the day, so I didn't get to see Rob Lee, but I did see Cabaye. And if he's here, I would say 5 years minimum.
Yeah.
Unless you want to judge him like you do Ginola. But, I'd like to see him at least 5 years.
Jimmy, would you have seen Peter Beardsley then play for Newcastle?
Only in World Cups. Not on television. Like I said, we didn't. The only, prior to 2000, the only game we might get the FA Cup final. And that really didn't start till about 97, 98. I mean,
So you've been enjoying the crap times and now looking forward to the good times. So yeah. So like, would you put him on a par with Kabay at this stage?
at this stage, yeah.
Right answer. For me,
yeah.
for me.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's just. I mean, there's this. They're great players, and there are people you can just. There are players you see. They're just God's gift. I mean, they were born to play this game. Everything's, even the hardest thing, just they make so easy. You just take it for granted until he's gone, and you're like, shh. But yeah, I mean, I still don't know how we managed to steal him from everybody else.
Mm.
Yeah.
Especially for 38 million. Like, it's not this day and age. 38 million sounds a lot, but this day and age, 38 million is nothing, is it? It's
nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, just think what his sell-on value would be right now.
Yeah.
I would
It's at least double that.
take.
Yeah, they're saying 80 million now.
You'd have to do 100 for me.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't sell him for 80 million either. No way.
I mean,
I don't want to
not
sell
that
him.
I'm looking to sell, but yeah.
What did you make of the and Rich, Daz, you may be able to correct me on this, but I read somewhere, I think it was earlier this morning, that apparently Bruno's come out and said that Real Madrid had been in touch and tried to have a conversation with him.
It was in the Evening Chronicle, Chris, and it was just saying that I've heard of obviously Real Madrid interest, that they are the biggest club in the world, and it's nice as a compliment. But he wants to be a legend at Newcastle, and he doesn't want. He says that the city loves me, the fans love me, and I love playing for them as well. I want to be a legend at Newcastle. It got mixed reviews actually. There was loads of people saying, "Oh, I love this guy. He's fantastic. He's, he just loves the club." But then there's other people that were reminding us of what he did at Lyon 2 days before he moved to Newcastle. "Oh, I love Lyon. I'm staying here for good." And then obviously, It's a weird one, you know what I mean? You're always going to have the pessimist out there, aren't you? Really? So it's. Do you know what I think? You've just mentioned yourselves all banded about a price and stuff for Bruno. For once, we're a club that doesn't need to sell anymore. We've got the money. We don't need to have money coming in, stuff like that. And you look. I don't know if anyone saw the comparisons on Monday Night Football last night, where they did the breakdown of the current midfielders in the Premier League, and Bruno was top of every single criteria they brought out, bar one, and he was only something like 0.2 behind Declan Rice in the other one. And you look at West Ham saying that they want 150 million for Declan Rice, who's a defensive midfielder. You look at what Jamie Carragher and what Roy Keane mentioned last night, that Bruno is a complete midfielder. He isn't a number 6. He isn't a number 8. He isn't. He's what you would class as a proper midfielder who can do everything. So if West Ham are after 150 million, what's to say Newcastle asking for 175 million, 200 million? If you're getting a midfielder that is a complete midfielder, one that even Roy Keane mentioned last night as someone who's got fantastic football intelligence. Yeah.
Yes, and that's it, Rich. It's key. It's the intelligence part. It's the fact that he's got that footballing brain, and you can see it. We've spoke loads of times off air, haven't we, about how when he gets the ball, he always seems to have loads of time on the ball, and he's not the quickest, Bruno. He's not slow, but he's not the quickest. But he always seems to have 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. But that's not by accident. That
was the same as Peter Beardsley, because he was never the fastest, but he had such a good footballing brain. He knew where to be to get the ball. He knew where he wanted to put the ball before he had to. Sometimes those people are like 1 in a million. They really, really are. And that's why everybody is like really, really hyping Bruno now. And it's just, everyone, right? We were lucky to get him, and I still believe we were lucky to get him. Especially when Real Madrid thought that he was theirs in the summer, but obviously we stole a march on him, got in there now, and obviously sold him the project, loves what he sees, and just it's now about keeping hold of him. In my point of view, I don't know if that's what you would agree with, Jimmy.
Well, I like his honesty. I mean, because a lot of players, when they talk about transfers or interest from other clubs, will shy away from giving you the whole picture of what really happened. And he just came out and said, "Yeah, talk to him. Oh well, I'm happy here. Me, my backyard, my hot tub. We're cool." So
The dog.
I mean, it's just refreshing to hear that, because you get a lot of the same cookie cutter answers from a lot of athletes. So Bruno's not going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
Yeah, you'd hope not anyway. Did anyone look at the player we're linked with from Vasco da Gama, Santos, the 18-year-old Brazilian? He looks decent as well. If you haven't seen him, and he reminds me a bit like Bruno. He can pick a pass, and he can put a tackle in as well. So wouldn't mind seeing him rock up at Newcastle in January or summer.
No, that's gonna be a tough one. We're gonna have a fight on our hands for that one.
Well, we've got used to stealing the march now, Jimmy. We can steal the march now and just get him pre-signed up like we did with Garan Kowal. Just get him pre-signed up till for January.
Yeah, I mean, of course, with Brexit, who knows when he's going to be able to play? But if I have to wait till he's 21 for a work permit, the HR guys are going.
I don't know. It all depends. If there's a lot of rumours that Newcastle are potentially looking at, PIF, shall I say, expanding the football and teams around the world, sort of thing. A bit like obviously what the City Group have done, expanding their portfolio into Europe, and the ones that aren't going to be like challenging for the Champions League or any European competition should Newcastle get there. So it'd be good to get a team like that in Europe where you could get these players in and loan them straight out, and obviously build them up straight away. Get the credit that they need so they can get the work permit.
It'd be smart. I'd definitely like to see something like that. Even throw a little, maybe team up with Atlanta United. Shit, what the heck?
Well, to be fair, Jimmy, you're laughing, right? Why not?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you've got that link with Miggy and also with Darren Eales. Man City, you've got New York City, so why not? You could do that with Atlanta, obviously, and they have a good relationship between the two clubs already. So it would, if PIF were to go in there, it's still classed as a newly established team in MLS, and obviously. I know the gentleman that owns the Falcons owns them, so he might be a bit more of a harder sell sort of thing. But it's, I wouldn't have thought that Atlanta United would cost anywhere near as much as what Newcastle United would. So,
well, problem is an expansion franchise in the MLS is going to cost you around $275 million at this rate, the way it's going, and there are teams in Europe that you could establish teams you could buy for less than that. That's the UK or the US sports market is hard to get into just because of the price per franchise in any sport, and that's why they look overseas, because they see the European, I guess, teams as highly undervalued. I mean, the new Bournemouth their new owner came up because today's the opening of the NHL season, and that's what what he looks forward to about Bournemouth. He said everything's a blank slate. He said you can go in and you can make tons and tons of improvements. And because the franchise didn't cost us a lot, the sky's the limit. And I'm like, well, yeah, considering for what you paid for, I mean, you couldn't come close to an MLS team for that.
Yeah, I've just got to say we've got Carl Seggy in the chat as well. Obviously, I know he's based in Atlanta as well, and he's saying that there's obviously been a bit of talk about that in your side of the pond, and he's saying that they're currently valued at $850 million.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, what Arthur Blank and them managed to do here is no one saw that coming. Every pundit out there said it's a college football. The South is all college football. Soccer will never work there. And then now you've got Nashville. Now you've got Charlotte. I mean, but yeah, I mean, $800 million. That's the fact that you can go in and get free refills on sodas and $2 hot dogs. To me, is all I need.
Yeah.
So
It's like the Man City uniforms. I don't know if you saw those. The Champions League uniforms are basically knockoffs of the Atlanta United. Instead of the red and white stripes going up and down, they went sideways.
Oh yeah, I was just watching it. Yeah, the Champions League, the away shirt they've got. Yeah, it's the old away shirt that they had a few years ago. That it was really old, wasn't it, Chris? I know you're nodding away, Chris, but you're on mute, so it doesn't really help me.
It's great.
I don't even know I was on mute. I didn't even press it. I must have pressed it by accident.
I was enjoying the piece, really, Chris.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. It was when I forget what year it was, but I remember it was when Joey Barton was at City because I remember seeing him in that kit. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, you got, like I put on Twitter, you got to take out a damn second mortgage to be able to afford all the kits they've worn this year.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? And one of the kits, Jimmy, is it? I forget which one it is, but hasn't one of the kits just got Man City on it?
I think that was the away one last year because I think Puma got hauled over hot coals, bro, because every single team that was had their kit produced by Puma, their away or the third, I can't remember which way around it was, literally just had a colour with the team name across it.
Yeah, that was it.
Every single it wasn't just Man City, it was every single team that had the kit made. So if imagine if we'd had Puma again last season and just had NUFC wrote across our third kit, it'd be crap.
So bad that, isn't it? It's just so lazy.
Oh dear me. Do you reckon when they get kits like Daz? Do you reckon when they get kits like that, they just see the designer? Do you fancy letting the kids design one of the kits this year, and they'll just put some colours together and just wrote the name on the front or something? That's it.
Yeah, and it'll be on DHgate the next day.
Yeah. Martin will be promoting it. Any more talk of the kit supplier next season? Are we with Castori again next season, or is it open to change? I don't know.
I think it's open to change. I mean, we know how bad they've been this season, and we know that they've not really hit the heights that I think everyone expected. But there was talk, wasn't there, or some people were demanding or asking that we change kit suppliers halfway through a season. But that's just never going to work. It just wouldn't work because all the money that people had spent, it would mean the club would miss out if they'd have to replace those shirts, or it would mean that fans would then be expected to fork out for new shirts, because obviously everyone's kids and stuff like that are all going to want the latest shirt. So I think we're just biding our time with them, if I'm honest, as I don't know, but I think we're biding our time with them, and then come the summer, I fully expect it to be a Nike or an Adidas. I think we'll get one of the big ones personally. So we'll have new sponsor on the front, and we'll have a new shirt as well, and they'll literally just I think the sales will go through the roof.
I think it depends on what the stage of the contract is, because obviously it was a bit like the Fun 88, wasn't it? It was like it's a multi-year contract. They don't actually say how long multi-year is. Obviously when you use multi-year, you use at least 2 years, but it could be anywhere up to 5 or 6 for all you know. You don't know. I think that the one thing I would say about the Castor stuff, they've had all the manufacturing side of it's been a bit pants. There was all the issues with the factories and the changeover and stuff like that. But I think one thing and there's a lot of people that said this, the designs are actually really good and they look smart. It's just that manufacturing stuff that's let it down.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with it. So like I'm wearing, as you can see, I'm wearing the fair kit, the Saudi kit as people call it, and I love it. I mean, it's really nice. It's nicely designed. It's nicely made, but it's just the fact that I think others, have been let down, as you say, more to do with the delivery side of things, and not having enough materials and letting people down. And I totally take your point, Rich, about it probably is a multi-year deal, but it could be that there'll be clauses within that contract where they go, you haven't done X, Y, Z, and then they'll just terminate. They might be, who knows, they might be building a case now as we speak to, kind of give them a heads up and say, listen, just so you know, end of the season, we're terminating the contract. Unless, this is all hearsay. This is just, my opinion. I'm basing it purely off what I've seen and what I've heard. But maybe it's just the fact that there's a few TV problems, and maybe they're gonna have to demand better things, or put things in place and have an agreement with Castore to say, listen, you've got another chance, and that's it. Who knows? But I think the design of the kits is great. Yeah, I've got no issue with that whatsoever.
Well, you also have to realize what Nike has done over here with their sponsorship in college football is, if let's say a team's wearing Under Armour and they have a 5-year deal, Nike will go in and say, look, whatever your buyout clause is, we'll pay 50% of that just to get you on board. And that's why they basically have bought out the majority of the larger teams. I think Adidas, their biggest brand is Notre Dame right now. And when it comes to things like that, Nike are ruthless. If they want something, they'll go for it.
Guess we'll see how it plays out in the summer. A lot to look forward to. Again, a new sponsor, a new potential new kit supplier, and new players, and
New channels
and new everything. Jimmy, we're going to say goodbye to you because we've got another guest waiting in the wings. But thanks for coming on and joining us, Jimmy.
Okay.
And keep going, and give us the updates on how you're getting on off the ventilator.
All right. And Man U fans this Sunday, going down like a $5 whore.
Great to have you back on, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Really nice talking to you, mate.
Cheers, Jimmy.
Yes.
We've had to take Jimmy off air due to the comments.
You know what? That's like the perfect mic drop, wasn't it?
Yeah. Jimmy just gets off, just goes boom.
Yeah.
Always into the classic. Now, this next man has to beat that, to top that. Welcome back, Paul. Right, Paul.
Hello, lads. How are you doing?
All right.
Saturday was outstanding. David's first game, brother's youngest son, and went crazy in the Leazes end, jumping up and down like bloody idiots. And Oh, it was just a men's day. But the piece de resistance, left Shearer's bar. I bumped into one of the lads off another YouTube channel, and went in to meet up with Aidan and David, and had a half. Then went across to see Steve Hasty at the food bank,
Cool.
chatting to him. Keith pops in behind us. Keith Patterson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That just blew my brain cells.
yeah. Lovely fella, Keith, isn't he?
Yeah, you know the thing is, right? Went all the way down to London from Nottingham, the craziest mission in my history, and I didn't get to see him because there was, I think there's about 400 people there. But shook his hand on Saturday, got a selfie, which I'm framing, gonna put that in the office, and wow, 5 goals, man.
That was amazing.
We were talking about this the other day, Paul, and it was only after the show I realised, and boys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember saying on the show, I can't remember the last time we scored 5, and somebody mentioned, you know, the Man U game, obviously the famous 5-0, but I was thinking, which season was it? And we beat Leicester 5-2, didn't we? Was that the one where we were like 4-0 up, and then like I'm sure we won 5-2?
Might be.
Was it not 4-2? I know which one you're on about. It was because we actually did the match day live. That Chris.
Was it 4-2?
I don't know. I'll just double check while we're sitting. But yeah, it was where we pretty much blew them away, and then they got they got 2 consolations towards the end of the. Yeah, I'll double check, mate. What you're talking, mate? 2 ticks.
Yeah. Do you know what, Mitch?
Spurs game as well. So we might have got a few.
Oh yeah, was it? That was Rafa's. That was Rafa's last game in the Premier League with us. That was when we got relegated, and Mitrovic got sent off, didn't he?
Yeah, I just blanking out now at this stage. But
Chris, it was definitely 4-2. I've got it up here.
I thought it was 5-2.
Ah, well, you can always add a goal.
yeah, exactly. But no, I think Daz is right. I think it was the game where we got relegated, and apparently that was the game that persuaded Rafa to stay in the Championship with us.
Yeah, everyone's shouting for Rafa. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I think that was 5-1.
We had some good times under Rafa, but you know we've moved on. Did you see? It's on YouTube. There was another YouTuber who was quite famous on Twitter, and he was on about they're going to take the roof off the Gallagher and then stick another tier up there.
Yes.
62,000 or something.
This is Ben mentioned this.
Yeah.
Yes. I saw that. Right. Yeah. I haven't heard anything else about it since, but I saw that.
He said 10 days, so that's not long. I mean, we've got Manchester on Sunday, and then is it next Saturday or Sunday we're playing? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, we've got a midweek game, haven't we?
We've got Everton on Wednesday
Everton next week.
And then the following Sunday, it's Spurs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what Ben was saying in that was that there's a link to activity in Company's House, and that it's probably something, you know, it takes a while for information to be available to view on Company's House. I kind of just glanced at it, but I think that was the gist of it. So he was kind of putting 2 and 2 together and linking it to a story he'd heard. So whether it comes true or not, who knows?
I think it will, because, like, I mean, even in my tweets, when the odd person's turn around and says, "Why are you putting in at Newcastle City Council?" And I was like, well, you've got to ask them permission, you know, to do an expansion. And when you look at, like, how many people try to get that season ticket when they launch them, you know, when you're trying to get tickets. Luckily, I've got Aidan he gets up early in the morning and he's straight on to to get tickets for the match.
Yeah, it's the look of the draw then, and depending on the popularity of the particular game in question.
But
yeah,
you see, I reckon that, like, the council, they've got to look at that. And the best way to look at it is there going to be more people coming to the city? Is there going to be more people spending money in the city centre shops? And if the answer to that is yes, you green light it.
Totally agree, Paul. Do you think let's say that happens, let's say they take the roof off and the extra 10,000 comes in and we go up to 62. Do you think there's any scope for further expansion? Do you think 62 is enough? Would you like to see more?
Well, the far side of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
My own personal opinion, the whole stadium should be a mirror of each side. And
so
I know
like
I know that means moving like the buildings behind on Lees's Terrace, but you've got to think of the greater amount of people. If you did that, who are going to come into the stadium and they're going to spend money like it's water in shops and businesses. We've got over 100 bars within a select distance to the central station, and then over to Manners roundabout. So every single person, if they did that, would benefit.
It's still a tough one though, Paul, because obviously you've got the listed buildings behind the East Stand at the minute. So obviously that's the main issue on that one. But to be fair, there was an interview I saw a few months ago with someone who actually was a resident in one of those houses, and they said, they wouldn't mind having the
show me the money.
Yeah, well, not the fact that they're a Newcastle fan at the end of the day. And they said the club needs to expand as well. And there's certain they're willing to listen to what the club want to do, so it doesn't necessarily restrict views or lighting or anything like that. There's been a few designs which have been made to make the the roof a bit more glass orientated if possible, if that's something that can be done to try and so there's no the natural light still getting through there and stuff like that. But I agree with what Paul said, and it would be nice if we couldn't develop on the East Stand to try and, if possible, obviously there was all that information last week with Strawberry Place. It was, I know what that Ben mentioned it last week, and we discussed it in our WhatsApp chat. But obviously they've got this, they're solvent now, so they've got money from somewhere. But that's not to say it's nothing from the company that ordered. They've been bought. They've been made an offer for the place, which means they would have money for it. You know what I mean? So that's something to bear in mind as well going forward as well. But yeah, I'd like to see that there's ways and means of how you could develop on the Gallagher. It's just how we can do that. But there's obviously you probably need to have a bit more work on the foundations, because obviously you've got the metro station there as well. But this is what the club will be investigating now and putting people, architects and probably even the geologists on it as well to sort out what's underneath the ground and stuff like that as well. So they'll not leave any single stone unturned, to develop St James's Park. As me and Dad mentioned, that they don't want to move away from St James's Park. It is an essential part of the club. So they'll do everything they can to find something.
Isn't it as well? I think a part of that, the talks, and it's been talked about before, is that if they lower the pitch down, they get more rows closer to the pitch area as well, to add in a few extra seats. But yeah, I'm sure whatever they do, we're all expecting they'll do something at some stage, whether it be in the next couple of weeks or next couple of years. But I'm sure they'll do it bit by bit. It won't be that tackle it all together. It'll be in stages, and I suppose just to ensure that we know the demands will be there anyway. But just to not a big bang approach. You're giving us the tour, Paul.
Well, sort of, yeah. I mean, I've just poured out a cup which has been sat because when the show started, I was having some soup, and I'm now changing to a glass of wine.
Wow.
What soup did you have, Paul?
Super wine.
Chicken soup.
Chicken soup, nice. I like chicken
Yeah,
soup.
it's the condensed version. You get more in the tin. But you know, I mean, that article that Richie was talking about with Ben, I think it is. If they do say right, we've got the green light to mirror the image, the different parts of St James up, and move the Leazes Terrace, you can move a listed building as long as you put it back exactly how it was, as far as I know, because they were talking about the same thing with the old Odeon. You know, they were going to like rebuild the fascia of the front of it because it was like a landmark.
Mm.
So, you know, there is possibilities, and we've got people in the PIF who just want the best.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is the nice thing, Paul. Like I think it was Richie who said it earlier. You know, we know that no stone's going to be left unturned. Like if there's an option or if there's a possibility, they will explore it. And the nice thing is now we're not penny pinching anymore. So it'll be a case of, you know, we'll get the best, and that's the nice thing for us as a club going forward, isn't it? And soon we're going to start seeing that. I mean, on the subject of you know, like the stadium and all that, has there been any more discussion? Do any of you know? Has there been any more discussion about the training grounds? I know they've been building on the training ground, but is there any more talk of you know, the new training grounds, which was getting moved?
I think what I heard is they still don't have it confirmed yet, the location of a new training ground.
Right.
Yeah, unless you heard it else, Richie.
No, I've heard nothing from my end at the minute.
It's been quiet, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's probably because I'm thinking of other things. I mean, one of the things I tweeted the other day, late on, was I think it was Sunday, that the plan they've got, at the minute we're sitting fifth, but like there's not many games to go before we break up for the World Cup. So if we can gain in all of those games, not just your points, but like move up the league, then we've got that World Cup coming up, and then after it, it's back to business.
Yeah,
where you start from, you know. And that way, I think, like, you know, when I was talking to you about the £10 bet.
That's right. Yeah, remember you saying.
Loads of people laughed at the idea, but at the end of the day, if you've got the belief in the lads who are playing on the pitch to do that, then, you know, Steve Hasey's going to be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be paid.
Paul, can I ask you a question? What's the main course?
The main course?
Yeah.
Well, it's just a glass of Hardy's Chardonnay.
Ah.
I do love the multitasking, Paul. It is class. I absolutely.
You know what, Chris? You know what I love? I love how the amount of views have doubled since he took us on the house tour.
Well, you know, the thing is, right? I mean, I would have come on the show at the beginning, but like eating, you know, a hot bowl of soup and then coming on, and you know, it just wouldn't be right.
We don't mind, Paul. We're all friends here.
Next time, try it.
Hey, we've had lads eating Burger King on our shows in the past. During the show, and McFlurries.
McFlurry, I've had the McFlurry on the show, Paul. It went down well.
Well, I mean, as Pete would do, raise a glass to you.
Oh, we are. I've got my coffee, Paul.
Yeah. I mean,
Paul.
I'm totally ecstatic.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you know what? It's funny you say that, Paul. Is there any negativity at the moment? Is there anything that you're not happy about? Is there anything that you're worried about? Is anything that you're unsure of? Because me personally, I've got to be honest. Like whenever I don't even like think about Newcastle as much nowadays, because I just know that everything's just ticking along nicely. I look forward to match day. I look forward to watching the game. Like I know on Sunday Is it Sunday or Saturday? No, sorry, I think it's Saturday, isn't it? I know we're going to be playing Man United. Is it Sunday? Right, okay. Yeah, sorry, it's at 2 o'clock, isn't it? I know we're going to be playing Man United, and now I just look forward to what's going on the pitch. Whereas previously, you know, we were seeing Mike Ashley in the news because of X, Y, and Z. We were seeing, oh, this player wants out, this player's not happy, the manager's not happy, you know, players aren't happy, all stuff like that. Whereas now,
in Portugal or something like that.
yeah, exactly. There's no dramas. It's just let's focus on the team. You know, let's focus on the football. Let's get the results on the pitch, and it's just great, isn't it? Because then every weekend we look forward to watching the game, and we know that 9 times out of 10, what's going to be put in front of us is going to be enjoyable, and it's going to, you know, we've always said, haven't we? We want a team that tries. We want a team that is challenging, competing, and that's exactly what we're seeing now.
That's very true. Yeah. I mean, because I'm old school I'm like from the Gallagher under the scoreboard. You know, some of the viewers will probably think, what the hell? But I mean, in those days, whatever the weather threw at you, you know, it threw at you. And, you know, one person had a big impact. I touched his head at a game. QPR, and
You have to tell the story.
Did you say he touched his head?
Yeah, Kevin Keegan, right? Alan Shearer was in the next pen over to where I was standing, and you know them white things, the blocks which we used to rest against. It was just a mission to avoid them getting to the front and touch his head when he scored. You know, but he gave me the belief in our club, and that belief has never ever gone away. It's never left us, which is why, like on Saturday when we scored, there was 3 people in the Gallagher just jumping up and down like bloody idiots, because it took me back to previous times, you know, and to win the game. What that bit where Bruno came off the far side and walked all the way around, Gordon Bennett, man, that was brilliant. And
he could have been looking for you, Paul. Touch my head.
You know, he changed his head. He's gone from black to blonde. And I said to Aidan, who was sitting next to us, I turned around and I said, "Who's the second player on the pitch with blonde hair?" Because I'm so used to Joe Ellington, you know?
Yeah.
It's just very cool. I mean, my drive home, I was just permanent smell on my face. And that's what it's all about, you know?
No, exactly, Paul. No, look, we're all being entertained with the games these days. The goals flying in left, right, and centre. Let it continue at Old Trafford for us at the weekend, and on to Everton and on to Spurs after that. So, but Paul, thanks for joining us. We have another man waiting in the wings here to bring on as well. But thanks for coming on and joining us, Paul, and enjoy the wine.
Just one thing, Paul. Just do us a favour. Promise you'll be back on next week.
Yeah,
want to hear more from you.
Yeah, I mean, if you want me to come back on, there's no problem with that. I mean, you know, you're a lovely bunch of lads, and
Cheers.
it's straight talking banter about our club.
Exactly.
Yeah,
whatever comes into our heads.
Yeah.
I wasn't even making a reference to touching Kevin Keegan's head there. Chris is off. Paul, cheers. Talk to you later.
Take care, Paul.
All the best, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I love him. You know. I absolutely love Paul. I just love him. Sorry for anyone wondering, I had to turn my camera off because I was just in fits of laughter, and then I had to turn the mic off. Paul just set me off there. I couldn't breathe at one point. Oh,
just before we get the next guest, Daz, just before the next guest, we were talking about how many goals. Last time we scored 5 goals, and we mentioned it was Spurs.
Yeah.
When Rafa was persuaded to stay. We also scored 6 in that same season against Norwich.
Oh, bloody hell! 6.
Is that where
It was when
where,
Ronaldo got the
Wijnaldum,
4-4.
yeah,
Wijnaldum got
Genie,
4, didn't he?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Obviously at home that game, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I remember
definitely.
that.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember
Yeah.
Richie, you have a prize draw as well to run tonight.
Yeah, we've got a prize draw, a bonus members draw. We'll draw it towards the end of the show, but it is from Pins and Prints. I'm not going to name what the prize is as of yet. I don't even think the lads know what the prize is unless they've went through and had a look at the pictures online. But
I don't know.
yeah,
That's why I'm saying who.
No, it's a good one. And put this way, it'll probably be the winner will be one of the first people to have one of these. That's
I know
all
what
I'm
it is.
going to say.
It's I know.
More importantly, have we got the spinny wheel?
It's already done. It's already uploaded and everything, man.
I love the spinny wheel.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Richie doesn't like doing it live.
No.
It could go wrong.
I like a bit of live drama. I like it.
Chris, how many times during a live one have me or you come up on the wheel? Seriously,
no, that's true. That's true. Actually, yeah, that's
one
true.
of us.
I mean, it would have been fun if I'd won it. I mean, I'd have said spin the wheel again, but we should.
I'm still waiting for the 3 prizes I've won. I've never got them.
And it was your birthday that day.
I know.
Right, let's get our next guest out. Here's Darren, another Darren. Welcome, Darren.
Hello,
Even
boys.
Darren, right, mate.
Even
How's
mate.
it going?
All
It's
right.
been a fantastic weekend. 5-1. Couldn't believe it. We dominated the play. Well, ball the first 10 minutes had a bit dodgy patch, but I couldn't believe at the end of the game when 5-1. I was like, we just beat 9 goals in 2 games. Like, it's just a great feeling. Like, we're compared to last year. It's just, I'm buzzing. Do you know what I mean?
I know. Having a positive goal difference for a change is nice as well, isn't it, Darren?
Damn right it is. It's just a different feeling this year. Like, we're winning game. You can watch match a day. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
And Shearer has 2 players from Newcastle in the team of the week as well. Like it's all positive. Every I think we said in the reaction show, they have to put Bruno in that team of the week. Everyone doing a team of the week has to put Bruno in. But
I couldn't believe Miggy wasn't in it. I feel I might have to Alan later and say what's going on. Where's Miggy?
Yeah.
The only 2 things I'd say is Sean Longstaff. He didn't have a great game. I know we won 5-1. I'm not a fan of Sean Longstaff. And Dan Burton on the left back, he hasn't got the attacking edge. Yes, he's defensive, but I just can't see him as a left back. But Botman had Ivan Toney in his back pocket all game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think the thing about the formation that you mentioned there, Darren, I think it's obviously with it's sort of playing like a 3 at the back in a way. The way he sets it up, isn't it? Because we play as a 4-3-3, but when we go into an attack mode, you sort of see Trippier go more as a wing back to a right midfielder, and Botman, Shaw, and Burns seem to play as a spread 3 sort of thing at the back. So you don't get that natural attack and flair down the left hand side as possibly you would if you've got Target and ASM and whoever on that left hand side. But we do develop a lot more goals down the right hand side off Trippier. So it sort of evened itself out, but I know what you mean. He's not unnaturally, left-sided full-back with attack.
Yeah, because like you said, the goal, the penalty, it was a horse penalty because he's not even looking at the ball. He's jumped up for the ball and he's tapped his hand. But the new rule, whatever the new rules are, it's a penalty. But if you look at the Arsenal incident, that's not a penalty. So how? Well, the inconsistencies there. It's just
if you give one, you've got to give you the basic. That's as simple as that. If you give one, you give you the
And do you know what? Yeah. Just to add into that, it's you're right what you're saying, Darren. It's very harsh. I think we've all kind of gotten used to these, for want of a better phrase, shit new rules. And I suppose the way I look at it is, if that was a Brentford player who'd done that, I'd want the penalty because his arm is in an unnatural position. As annoying as it is, and the fact that Dan Burns not even looking to block the ball because he's not even looking at the ball, he's facing the other way. I'd still, if that happens in the Brentford box, I'd want a penalty. So I kind of reluctantly accepted the fact that it was a penalty, even though us true football fans from many years ago know that simply isn't handball. But
Today-
these days it is.
You know what I did find funny though, 'cause when the ref went and had a look at the TV before the referee gave the decision, the players passed the ball back to the keeper before the referee gave his decision. It was quite funny that I felt because the players knew what was coming.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, and I didn't do the review, Sean. So now I want to ask it's open to all of you. What did you make of the referee go to check the VAR monitor for the offside?
For where their goal that was ruled out.
Yeah. What's the point? What's the point? Surely that's where the lines come on and VAR just say, look, it's offside. Why does the on-field referee need to go and view it?
I think it was the interference, look. I think that's the referee. Do you think he's interfering with the?
Yeah, has he touched it, or has he got in the way? And
I think he's done the dummy. He's fooled, sure, but he has kind of interfered in play because he hasn't touched it, but he's done the dummy for the ball gone past. If you know what I mean, or did he think he touched it? It's one of them too. But I think that's decision.
I'm thinking even with those ones where you have people like, is he interfering with play or does he block a viewer? And still, the VAR referee normally give that anyway, don't they? It's not often you go and see the actual on-field referee go to do the offside. That's what I was confused about.
Yeah.
Make it up half the time, Richie. Make it up as you go on.
Yeah.
I think it's just for the drama, for the spectacle. They love it because we all know as fans now, don't we? And we knew this a while ago. And Vichy, I know you said there was one time it didn't happen, or maybe it's 2 or 3 now. But we all know that when the referee gets called to the monitor, chances are the decision's going to get reversed. But you think, like you say, why not just speak in the mic and just go, yeah, you got it wrong, turn the decision over?
Yeah,
because they always change their mind.
Yeah,
but the Wilson played well up front, but Mickey he's just a different player. The season unbelievable. I hope Bruce is watching. You watching Spain now where he was going to hold it. Portugal, you might go. You watch Mickey Hammer on now because he's Eddie Howe's got the best out of him 100%.
Yeah, well, he's done that with. We've said this several times on the show, Darren. You look at all the players who regressed under Steve Bruce. You had Shaw, you had Longstaff, you had Miggy, so many. We never saw the best of Joe Linton under. But to be fair, we never saw the best. As I said there, so many Newcastle players just did not get anything off Steve Bruce at all whatsoever.
I was watching some
of the best of anyone, did we?
I was watching some of the YouTube West Brom fans the other day. They were like us, crying. He's get out of the club, please. They wanted him out. They were all arguing with him, get him out. They were like how we were. And that tweet the other week, I was trying to apologise to Newcastle fans. Now I know how it feels. So even them know how we felt like, and it's when you listen to Steve Bruce well, we know we'll go again.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating.
Was that the video that a West Brom fan took, and it was a West Ham. It was a West Brom fan shouting at Steve Bruce, and Steve Bruce went over because apparently he was shouting at his son Alex Bruce, and Steve Bruce went over and then turned the whole conversation around to basically say that the fan was in the wrong because he was swearing in front of a kid.
Because I think Alex Bruce gave the fan a
middle finger.
Yeah, he had, yeah.
So that's a big no-no, isn't it? I mean, we shouldn't be doing that.
It's just pathetic, though, isn't it? It's just, I don't know why I'm shaking my head like I'm so surprised. that is exactly, no wonder the fans kicking off. He's feeling passionate about his own club. He's upset. Instead of going over and going, listen, sorry, we're trying to turn it round. He then goes over, shouts at him, swearing at his son, who's just given the middle finger, and then starts saying, you're swearing in front of kids. You should be ashamed of yourself.
But he's made more money in seconds what he has been a proper manager. It's scary.
Yeah. Darren, I have 2 questions for you. One that we have to ask everyone on the show going forward. So I'll go with the serious one first. Have you ever touched any player's head or manager?
No.
No. Okay. Then we'll get to the not so serious one. Would you make any changes to the lineup going into the Man United game on Sunday?
Yes. I would play Target left back. I can the kid on the right for Man U. He's fast and he's nippy. I just don't think Dan Burn will be able to cope with him personally. And I'm Murphy's done well. He's got a goal, but I'd play ASM. I'm like, that's the only two changes I would do.
And you keep it Longstaff, are you?
Or would you bring Joe Linton back?
Oh, it's a hard one because he's done no wrong. Sean Long and Abonais and play well, but how do you change? I don't really want to change a winning team. That's the thing, you know what I mean? But if you want to win down there, but Sean Longstaff, I like Joe Linton. I think he'd be more hungry because he's been dropped last couple of weeks. Well, not dropped, injured. But Murphy, midfield. I like Willock. I think Willock's been fantastic.
He has.
Great game. You worked these socks off all from start to finish. I'll play Target definitely left back. Yes, I'll play him. He's in the mood to play, but it could steering. He'll turn up, and I'll keep Sean Longstaff. That's what I would do.
The thing is, though, Darren, right? It's a nice problem to have, isn't it, for a change?
Compared to last year, like, oh, you wouldn't have any of them in the team, would you? If you were struggling to play 1-11.
I know.
Richie, same question to you. No, the second question, not the first one.
The second question. Do you know what? See, I agree with what Darren said. Anthony's a really skillful player. So you automatically want to bring your natural-sided left back in, who can obviously help out going forward as well. But at the same time, obviously with the attacking threat that he has, and Dan Burn's the better defender. So obviously that would hopefully nullify Anthony on that one. And I would bring Joe Linton. I just think you've got the likes of, obviously McTominay is suspended, so you'd imagine that Fred will come in and obviously play alongside Casemiro. So you'd need our Brazilian boys to outdo their Brazilian boys basically in the middle. And then obviously Willett can use his legs to get up and down the pitch. And I've always thought that Diogo Dalot's a bit of a, I don't know, he's just a bit of a wild card. I think he's there to be got at, and there's never any players that really get at him. And I just think ASM's that type of player where, he's been out for a while. He'll be good, raring to go, and I just think he'll be able to tear him a new one, if I'm honest with you. So for me, I would make two changes like Darren, but it would be Joe Linton and ASM.
Joe Linton and ASM.
Yeah.
So you're keeping Dan Burn left back.
Yeah, basically because I think he's a better defender. Obviously, we're going to need to be tight at the back. We've already proved this season. I don't know whether you lads knew this, but we're actually joint top defensive record in the Premier League with three other teams. So that's just interesting. That I think he's a better defender, and obviously Botman's a good footballing brain as well. So it needs to be you've got two fantastic left-footed centre backs on that left-hand side that you'd hope would be able to deal with Anthony.
Chris, I think you were going to stick with the same 11, or that's what you were indicating the last day.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you can change the team. And going back to what Richie said before, and this is what we were talking about the other day on the review show. I think Eddie Howe is purposely using Dan Burn at left back because, like you say, he likes to play Kieran Trippier further up. So Kieran Trippier kind of becomes an extra right midfield, or maybe in the gap between where the right back normally is and the right midfielder, and then he'll overlap as and when needed to support Miggy. And then that means that Dan Burn shuffles over, Botman becomes directly in the middle of the three, and then you've got Shaw on the right of the three. So I do think that's the reason why we're doing it. For me, I think you've got to keep the same team. I think off the back of a 4-1 and a 5-1, regardless of who the opposition is, I think you've got to keep that same team. Because let's be honest, lads, if he changes the team at the weekend and we draw or lose, are we all then going to go, should have kept the same team? I think he's got to keep the same team, but maybe review it slightly earlier. So, at the half time, maybe go, right, this isn't working, or this isn't how I'd panned it out, and make some subs, or maybe go for 55, 60 minutes. I know we didn't bring Maxi on. I think it was till 70, 75. So maybe just bring Maxi on a bit earlier, get him for a few extra minutes. And who knows, if it's a tight game at that point, Maxi could make all the difference.
Yeah, just linked into that. I remember the days where we'd when they're back a good while now, Bruce actually got a result, and we did criticize him then when he didn't change the team and when he did stick with the same 11. So I think playing against 10-man Fulham at the time for most of that game, and Brentford. Because those are two great results, two great performances. I'd switch it up. I'd bring the three in. I'd bring Joe Linton, ASM, and Target in. Go for it. It's Man United. I don't think Murphy's going to cut it. I don't think Dan Byrne at left back. And I know it's the tactics you're talking about there to give kind of Target a more freer role, but I don't think he's going to have that freer role against Man United. So that's why I think you look at the opposition and play the opposition and to switch it up that way. But again, it doesn't matter our thoughts. It's Eddie Howe is the man looking at them and comes up with the game plan. So let's see what he does on Sunday.
Today I was impressed with the Bruno's first goal. How much has that been worked on in training? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
The header.
You got Bruno fast his laces. The defender switches off. Dan Bird blocks the defender deliberately so the defender can't go around and get Bruno, and he heads it in the net. But how much is that? What a great set piece to watch. How much effort was went in that on work on the training ground.
Yeah, Eddie Howe said in the I don't know if did you see the Bruno interview where he was saying about how it worked on the headers and stuff, and then Eddie Howe replied saying, to be fair, Bruno's being kind there. I've done very little on it. It's been more, Jason Tyndall and the coaching staff, but it was a fantastic work thing. To be fair, it was still a lot to score from there. Do you know what I mean? He literally placed the header pretty much as the only place he could probably score, and obviously Rayanelli got it, but it had enough pace in it, so the pace beat him still. Yeah,
it was just everything about it. Like the players, whoever does it, the players knew the role where they had to stand, who had to block him. I've watched it all a load of time. How much the players think Bruno's going to stay in the end of the box because he's not interested. And that 1 second soon the defender switch off, it's just like lights, camera, action, how it works. It just every player knew what they were doing, and like Eddie Howe at Bournemouth, I could watching something else about him. He said about Bournemouth, he scored against Newcastle, I think, and players made certain runs and certain blocks for them to score up here against St James's Park, and that's what he does. He's an inch perfectionist. He works on tactics all the time. Yeah.
Definitely. So I was going to say the reason why we're talking about Dan Burn, and obviously everyone's had different opinions on it, whether they keep him. I think one of the reasons why Dan Burn's played left back is because they've played Murphy on the left, and Murphy does a lot more pressing and tracking back. Whereas, you look at if you have ASM, you don't really have that track back as much, and you don't have that higher intensity press that you do off Murphy. So that might be another thinking point on it regards who he plays at left back as well, depending on who plays up front, either Murphy or ASM.
I think another thing. I think Eddie Howe likes Dan Burn. I think he hasn't let him down since he's come here. Yeah. He's played more or less every game, and I think Eddie Howe's struggling. Well, not to drop him, but I think he's the most player for them, and that's one of the reasons why he's in the team every week. He's so reliable, gives 110% every week, and that's one of the reasons why Eddie Howe is. I don't think he wants to drop him because he's given everything. He's pushing the gut.
Yeah. Darren, I don't know whether you happened to listen to the Talk Sport interview this morning with Dan Burn, or if either Daz or Chris did as well. It. But it was just what you thought about his comments about being possibly picked for England. There's still people touting him for England and stuff like that. But at the same time, he also mentioned he was realistic. Obviously he'd love to go, but this is probably the only chance he'll get to go to a World Cup. Do you think he's got a chance of actually making the squad? And do you think he should feel hard done if he doesn't make the squad?
We all know Southgate's going to pick these blue-eyed boys like Harry Potter, Harry Maguire. He's not going to hardly play for Man United, but I do think I'm going to say yes. That's me being a Newcastle fan and Newcastle, and I think he deserves. But it's not that. It's how he's playing. He's reliable. He works. He pushed the gut. He's playing consistently. He's going to take someone like Harry Maguire who's sitting on the bench. He's not doing nothing, and he said from the start, "I'll pick the players who's been playing." But he's not doing that. Yes, I think he should go, but I don't. But on the other hand, I think Gareth Southgate will not pick him.
I think it's too much of a risk now. I think his chance was probably, the last time they called the squad up. It's like it's the same, Darren. We were talking about this very briefly not so long ago. About Ivan Toney being called up, and he gets called up for the 2 international games and doesn't get a sniff.
Doesn't get a game. I can't believe it.
What's the point? What's he learned from those 2 friendlies by playing? The likes of Maguire, Shaw, Kane to a degree, because obviously Kane, will want to try and score as many goals as he can for England. But why not shake it up? Why not try, new things? He's obviously got no intention of trying, new tactics or new players. He's obviously made his mind up who he's going to take. So.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be going to the World Cup, to tell you the truth. I didn't hear that part of the interview, which I heard him talking about the handball incident. That was a little clip I saw, but I can't see it at this stage. I don't think a lot of people will probably have to drop out now before he get in, because, as Chris said, Southgate has his mind made up.
It's just interesting with his versatility as well, of the fact he can play, left of it, centre back. He can play left back. He can play as a wing back, and he's picking people like Luke Shaw. Still, it's like what Darren mentioned. He's been picking Harry Maguire as well. Both those players aren't playing for the club side, so there's not even any warm up games before like there normally is for a major tournament. So it's literally, unless they're getting picked in the Europa League they're in this year, then they're not getting any game time at all. Training matches or whatever, or behind closed doors, aren't going to get you the intensity of a World Cup. To me, you can't take them. But that's me.
I agree, mate. I agree.
Yeah, I'll agree. I don't think he's going. I don't think he's picked his defenders already, and I think he's got his 1 or 2 people who needs to decide. But I do think he's got his players picked. So
I think it's madness as well. I mean, I hate to state the obvious, but Dan Burns, like, what, 6'6", 6'7", and you think, the last 10 minutes of a game, why would you not want to bring someone like him on who can either defend well for you, if the crosses are being swung in, by the opposition, or similarly, if you want to get your head on something at the far post, if you're attacking, surely bringing on the likes of Dan Burn would be better than bringing on, an average-sized defender. That's one of his advantages. It's the same with Peter Crouch, wasn't it? Peter Crouch made a career off it because he was so tall. Very, very talented player, by the way. I'm not just saying it was because he was tall, but that was just like an added extra. So if you took the likes of Peter Crouch to a World Cup, if he wasn't starting, you'd be thinking, great, I can bring him on. And he's going to cause the opposition defenders a lot of problems because obviously if you lump the ball up to him, there's a strong chance that he's going to win the header in the box.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. But I can't see it happening.
You see, Ivan Toney against Italy, he should be on the bench. But we're getting beat 1-0, 20 minutes ago. Tony can score goal, can make your deal. But he was on the bench, and he's like bringing midfielders on. What like you said? What's the point of taking Ivan Toney? What's the point of calling up the England squad? He was not on the bench. Italy was a perfect chance for him. Go on, Tony. Go on. If you want to get yourself in the World Cup squad, last 20 minutes, can get me a goal, can do something, show me why I should take it, and wasn't do it.
Sorry to change the subject, Darren, for a second. Where did you get that headboard? Because Chris is looking for a new headboard.
Adam Lamb, mate.
What are you messing?
Chris, don't encourage the wife. Don't encourage her. She'd be bloody. If she's watching this, she'd start looking for headboards.
Amazon, I think it was.
Amazon, bring back the leopard skin wallpaper, Chris. That's what I missed.
I know. I liked the leopard print wallpaper as well. I liked it, but
at least it's told us you like wearing leopard print out in Liverpool on a night out as well.
That's it. Yeah, it matched me thong. Do you know what I mean?
I'm going to Man U this weekend as well, boys. So.
Oh yeah, nice one.
Yeah,
Pete's going.
Yeah, Pete's going to keep an eye out for Pete, Darren.
I'll look out for Pete. So I am going down. I am looking forward to the match. So I'm setting about 7:30, getting in about 10, 11 o'clock. But I just want to say, just go for it. We've got nothing to lose. Got pride. Where we've been playing, can have a go to attack them.
And do you know what, Darren? We were talking about this the other day. Me and one of my mates, I think it was one of my mates. Yeah, we were saying, no, it was my dad. That was it. It was my dad, and we were saying that this Man United game feels to us very much like a bit of a litmus test. because obviously we had that fantastic result against City when, really you could argue we should and could have won because we were 3-1 up at one point. We went 1-0 behind, obviously. And then the Liverpool game, bearing in mind, we got beaten the very last minute, and that was without Wilson, St. Maximin, Bruno, Botman, Shah. We've pretty much got a full strength squad, maybe bar Isaac, you could argue. And we're going to Old Trafford. And, normally, I think we won once in Premier League history at Old Trafford. And this weekend is a fantastic opportunity for us to kind of go, okay, we've had the Man City results. We've had the Liverpool results. Let's see what we can do against Man United. Because I don't know if you watched it the other night when Man United played Everton. Man United, nothing special. At the moment, they're nothing special. And you think, if we turn up and, we've got that high press, that endeavour, we really go at them and make them struggle a little bit, get the fans to turn on them, obviously because it's at Old Trafford. I think we've got a great chance of getting a win. Really do.
The main thing, just don't concede in the first 20 minutes. That's the main thing.
But even if we do nowadays, Davin, this is the thing. We used to say that under Bruce, didn't we? You're quite right. Keep it tight, and if we concede, we're in trouble. But even nowadays, even when we concede the goal, like we did against Man City, you just roll the sleeves up and you go, right, we'll go at them again. I think we score every game. Every game, I think we can score.
You see, even when another goal got disallowed against Brentford, but I wasn't too concerned because it was like when we drew 1-1 against Brentford. It was strange what the atmosphere there was. It was flat another Queen Tab. It was knee war flags, there was knee music before the game. The fan were pretty much quiet, on Saturday it was a different back to war flags and the crowd buzzing and that atmosphere was there. And I think the players go off that. It was a bit more up for us today.
Yeah, I agree, Darren. Yeah,
but we're doing great to see in the last season. It's just unbelievable, you know what I mean? How far we've come from. We've only lost 2 games since
what
this year. Well, this year I'd say one. But this year it's kind of
Oh yeah, you're right. I think we've lost 2, and that are both Liverpool. I think because we'd lost the last home game we lost was Liverpool, and we'd lost recently at Anfield as well.
Yeah, so this kind of I think we only lost 2, and it's like what a massive difference. Like on the Bruce we're losing every single week.
Oh, I know. I know.
It says it all, doesn't it? We've lost 2 games at St James's Park this year. One's Liverpool and one was Cambridge.
Oh yeah, Cambridge. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Cambridge. Darren, could you do me a favor? Because we're sick of saying this. Can you ask people to subscribe and hit the like button?
Can you all subscribe? Because it's a great program and like it at the same time, please.
Nice one, Darren.
Love it.
I can retire now. We have a new dad. Darren, we'll probably bring it to a close. Thanks a million for coming on.
Boy, I love what you do. Great program, great chat. And,
thank you, mate.
I'll hear a match report next week.
Cheers, Darren. All the best, mate. Thanks for coming on.
That's the bonds. That's all the bonds on the top of your bed there. Is it?
Oh.
Yes, it is. Cool.
Oh, yeah. I like
that.
Quality.
Oh, where's Keith Rowan?
I know.
Keith Rowan, isn't it?
I know, yeah. Where's Keith?
Double Stato.
Yeah. I got to be friends for a bit of the present.
It's good, mate. I like that.
Class.
We're getting to nose into everybody's houses today.
Through the keyhole.
Darren, thanks a million. See you later.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Cheers, Darren. All the best, mate.
See you later.
Cheers. Oh, that was Darren. Right,
I've got something for you, Dad, which you forgot.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Remember to turn it off, Chris.
I know, yeah, that was Mitch. Honestly, it was funny. I'd left it on and I was like, do I need to turn this off? He was like, yeah, it'll just carry on.
Rightio. I think that's probably all of our visitors tonight, unless someone wants to come on and show us around their house. But Richie, you have did you do the prize draw? No, we didn't do the prize draw.
No, we didn't talk about it. No,
we've got some questions as well, guys. We've got some questions.
Oh, yes. Do the draw and then we do the questions.
Right, no bother. Do you want me to do the sponsors while I'm on as well? And Darcy, you're taking the night from like and subscribe and all that sort of stuff,
Unless someone wants to come on and do them instead of me, yeah, perfect.
Well, it's not strictly, you know, where you get someone on to do the terms and conditions, you know, mate. Big in hell. Oh, right. So, we want to say a fantastic show so far tonight, but sure enough, we're going to say thanks to all of our amazing sponsors that come on and support the channel every single week that we do the show. First of all, we've got Simon and ShyBens.com. We all know that mental health is a big thing for us on this channel. It's also been Mental Health Day yesterday, Awareness Day yesterday as well. So, you know, it means a lot to us lads in the chat, both myself, particularly, and obviously Mark as well. It was before he left as well.
Who?
I don't know. Marvin?
Marvin?
No.
No? All right.
Not ringing a bell.
No? All right, okay, fine. Must be dreaming again. So, but yeah, so go and check out Simon's website, shyburns.com. Check out his fantastic range of clothes, t-shirts. Shy Ben's getting out one of our famous Geordie quotes. His hoodies, also his fantastic caps as well. He's also got the Loaded Mag NUFC t-shirt range as well. Various different colours there. I've actually got my navy one on tonight. Don't get overloaded Mag NUFC. We've also got our fantastic Away Days t-shirt as well. We do love playing away, which has been actually debuted in Florida over the weekend. I don't know if anyone actually saw that on Twitter, but someone was wearing it in Florida this weekend. So fantastic. We've also got to say thanks to Dean at Pins and Prints as well, who would fantastic. He's given us a prize giveaway tonight. And I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, go and check out his fantastic prints. Eddie Howe's Black and White Army, Trippier Over the Wall. Also, you can get your shirt collaborations for the 95-96 shirts. Also, your goal celebrations as well, like the Bruno one against Southampton. He also does his fantastic range of limited edition pin badges as well, which we've still got one. I know Dave Carmichael has been in the chat. I did ask him to DM us because he actually won the Craig Bellamy limited edition one, but he hasn't. I don't know if we can our inboxes and see if he reaches out to anyone to get that. But the prize draw, which I will touch up on at the end, the picture is in there. It's a fantastic one. Also got to say a big thanks to Martin at Machine House, fantastic Newcastle-based clothing company, great sponsor of the channel. Fantastic range of clothes on their website as well. Dunnell actually won the t-shirt last week, and Martin was grateful enough to go and actually drop it off hand right to his door. It was. I spoke to Dunnell as well afterwards. He said he absolutely loves it, and he said he couldn't believe it got dropped off at his door. He said he couldn't praise Martin enough for the customer service. So the problem now is he's set a precedent that he's got to do it for every single delivery that he actually has now, unfortunately. So I don't fancy if he's got someone in TB or down in, Cornwall somewhere. He's got his work cut out on his mileage, especially with the way petrol cost at the minute. So. But also, we'll say thanks to Dean at the Geordie Rise as well. Obviously, Dean's been going through a rough tight minute with snapped his Achilles and stuff like that. But yeah, go and check out his fantastic race, the Geordie Rise. Obviously, we know we've got Uggy, who's a watcher of the channel from down in Oz, modelling the t-shirts here as well. But as I mentioned, we've got a prize draw, and as I said, the lads don't. Well, Daz does now because he was nebby enough to go through the pictures, but we have got a prize to give away, and that one is the print of Almiron's goal against Fulham 10 days ago. And it's literally just hot off the press, this. And Dean actually reached out straight away and said, look, it's launched on the website now. I've got one for the channel to give away, whatever you want to give it away. So this is the first chance we've had to give it away. So... Cool. It's a fantastic one to give away. We're probably looking at goal of the season contender here. So it's absolutely fantastic that he's been able to give us that as well. So what I'll do is I'll just get the video up and we'll find out who our winner is. I know who the winner is. And by the way, there's no fix here, Chris, but it's not you, mate. Okay.
Oh, right.
It might be you.
Here we go.
Oh, People can hear us as the wheel is spinning. Go on, Richie.
This is what you were saying. Anything bad there, Daz, wasn't it?
Oh, hang on. I recognise that name.
Ah, Lisa.
Oh, it's Lisa.
Yeah, it wasn't a fix. It, as I said, it was, spun the wheel. That
Well done, Lisa.
Well done, Lisa. Mwah. Well done.
Congratulations, Lisa. If you give us a DM, and I'll pass all your information on to Dean, and we'll get that print sent out to you.
Now we have.
Do you know what?
we have some breaking news.
I was going to say, the show was just coming to an end. And we've got someone else just sitting in the studio now. What's going on? It's not on.
I hope this person coming on will give us a tour of the house and answer the question we've all been waiting. I have to ask it to everyone who comes on. Pete, have you ever touched a player's head?
Touched a player's head?
Yeah.
The player's head.
Yeah. We've asked that before.
Yeah, I think I have.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
On
the tour.
Peterborough away in the cup. Don't know what year it was.
Wasn't expecting this.
Big Al scores at the away end, our end. I'm at the front with Lee and my eldest brother, and we're just going mad. And the players come in a big crowd, and I don't know whose head I touched, but I touched one of them. So it's like either Shearer, Bellamy, or some of the other boys, but I know they were both playing at the time.
We're saying Shearer.
Yeah, we'll go Shearer or Bellamy. I love both of them, but either one of them. So I remember just going mad and just trying to grab them. And
are you sure it wasn't one of the stewards that you rubbed the heads there, mate?
There was no stewards there, to be fair. It was Peterborough. I mean, they probably had about 2 in the whole ground. Yeah, there definitely weren't any stewards there. But yeah, I'll always remember that game.
Well, now that's the standard has been set. Paul has touched Kevin Keegan's head. Pete has touched Alan Shearer's head. If you don't come on this show next week unless you can beat that.
Yeah.
I'll probably get the police at my door now.
Yeah.
Shearer makes a complaint. Oh God! How are you boys anyway? I know you're wrapping up, but sorry I couldn't make it before.
So good
show. Yeah.
Yeah, we've enjoyed it. It's been good crack, good laughs, as this show always is.
Exactly. We have some questions though. You can take part in the questions, Pete.
Yes.
Go for it.
Do you want me to kick off with these questions right
away?
I know we've spoke about it, but I'll just quickly whiz through it. So Lisa, our very own Lisa, who's just won the prize, well done, Lisa. She said, did anyone catch the Dan Burn interview on Talksport earlier? Lots of praise for him from them and such a down-to-earth lad. I know we spoke about it earlier. Pete, out of interest, did you see the Dan Burn interview? Or have you seen any of it?
No, I've seen a little bit. I think where he was talking about the handball and saying
that's
it was
the I saw, yeah.
But yeah, I've not watched the interview in its entirety.
Richie, I think, is the only one that has probably heard it all. We talked about it.
He got asked about the England squad as well. Did he think he had a chance of getting into the England squad and stuff like that? And he admitted he was playing well, but he's also realistic, and he knows that this is probably the last World Cup he could go to, but chances are against him, really. So,
yeah. Now, David Cook asks here, views on the stories today about the stadium partnership. Now, when David says this, is David referring to the extension to the Gallagher, or is David referring to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is apparently getting sponsored by Google? Is that right?
I saw the Google story earlier, but I haven't seen anything about Newcastle. I suppose maybe there was also an article. Dom Scar put up the story about the investment the PIF are putting into across football. Really, maybe it's linked into that. And we're on the hunt as well for sponsorships, and including probably stadium partnership. But who would you like as a sponsorship deal on St. James's Park?
I think
whoever brings the most of that.
Yeah. The one thing I don't know whether you boys agree, but I'm really interested and intrigued by that Tottenham Hotspur Google sponsorship because and I think Newcastle will be watching that very closely, because if they come out and get some ultra mega money deal on this stadium, Newcastle United could quite easily go in with a similar fee and get someone else to sponsor their stadium, and that wouldn't go down well, because us getting a massive sponsor like that would just take us to another stratosphere.
You're right, Pete. You know what? At the end of the day, the PIF are already investing in Twitter. They're already investing in Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think we can rule out Amazon. I don't think that'll work. But I don't think that'll work.
Maybe I think it's the Independent. Is it the Independent that Miguel Delaney works for? Maybe we can name it the Miguel Delaney at St James.com. And we can have his picture there. I know lots of people on social media have got his picture when they were talking about Newcastle on the Sunday supplement, and he was not best pleased. Maybe we could have his picture there next to the stadium name, so he's part of the fabric of the club that he loves so much.
Let's get him on. Ask him. Would he like it?
Bring him on.
You probably could have, but now I've said that, you've got no chance.
Open invite.
Pete, I think you may know the answer to this one. I'm not sure, but I remember asking you something similar myself. Is there a way to get BBC Radio Newcastle from outside the area? David wants to listen to Darren Eales' interview tomorrow night.
You should be able to get on DAB, shouldn't you?
Yeah, I listened. To be fair, I listened to it quite a bit. It's
BBC Sounds as well. You can do on the app.
BBC Sounds.
BBC Sounds is the place to find it.
I'm sure there will be clips of it as well, and someone will have a link to it somewhere. So don't worry. It mightn't be live that you hear it, but you'll hear it over the course of the 24 hours after it, I'm sure.
Yeah, he actually joins the show. If anyone's, it's 7:00 tomorrow. He joins the show, so you don't need to be on straight away at 6:00. It's 7:00. He's joining the channel.
Nice one, Mitch. Nice one. Right, now these 3 questions are directed at everybody. Okay, so Alan Thompson asks, lads, is Bruno the best midfielder Newcastle have ever had? And we were talking about this earlier, Pete. As some of the dailies are saying so, I think he should be here 4 to 5 years to be a legend, which is fair enough. And who is your best midfielder? So, Pete, we'll start with you.
I was going to say, Chris, before we answered, should we actually keep this? Because we might be going into a bit more depth with this question.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Should we hold back?
Yeah, we'll hold back on that one, yeah.
We'll hold back, but Alan, we like it.
Yeah.
But what we can ask, can we ask the M part? Who is your best midfielder? Who's your favourite midfielder of all time? You can't have Bruno.
Can we not ask that question? We might have something else. No, I must. Let's go. Who is your best midfielder, Pete?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know, man. That's what I'm saying. Ask it.
I know yours as well.
Best midfielder. Come back to me. I need to have a thing.
And I bet you, Chris, and you might have seen this clip. I bet you your midfielder, Darren Bent, thinks is the same player or similar player to Bruno.
Do you know that's going to be the worst comparison I've ever seen?
No, I haven't seen it. What was it?
You've not seen it? Darren Bent on Talk Sport last night compared Bruno as a like for like of Hatton Ben Arthur.
Hey?
Doesn't add up, does it?
No.
Does this involve wingers as well? I was thinking centre midfielder.
Yeah, I'm going.
So are we.
I'm going like left mid, left wing.
Midfielder, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, just not a centre forward. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So anywhere across the midfield for this answer.
That's easy for me. Laurent Robert, the magician.
It's a good one.
Easy for me.
Good one. What about you, Daz?
Okay, I'm not going to pick Bruno, but just because I'm going to go outside of Bruno.
You're not allowed to pick Bruno.
Okay, you're not allowed to pick Bruno on this, right? I'm going to go. So probably because he was one of my favorites, I'm going to go for Dave Batty. I just loved him in midfield. Now that's assuming Peter Brisley were putting him in the forward section or number 10. So I can only pick midfielders. I'm going to pick someone different, Pete, and go with Dave Batty.
Nice, Rich.
See, I'm torn between two because there's the one I like. Both these I actually idolized growing up in, like when I was a kid and then in my teens and stuff like that. And one I didn't get to see much of and didn't understand, but I recognized how good he is. I used to want to be him when I was a kid, and that was Gaza when he was at Newcastle. I absolutely loved Gaza. But then obviously when he moved on, and then obviously the entertainers era came in, Ginola was just my hands down favourite player in that era. And it's really, really hard to separate the two of them for me personally. And I remember we all got a chance to do our our Newcastle 11 in the past, and I was lucky enough to be able to put both of them in my team. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Chris?
Well, I think you all know what I'm going to say. But, mine's Hatton Ben Arthur. Like he was just unbelievable. He was a player who, whenever he picked the ball up, I used to think anything could happen. And I think, he proved that with the Blackburn goal in the cup. He proved it with the Bolton goal when he turns to the player on the halfway line, runs through the whole team, goal. I'd loved Hatton Ben Arthur. As much as I wanted to strangle him at times because he'd either not turn up or you'd be thinking to yourself, like, you could be anything you want to be.
Yeah.
He could have played for anybody. And, obviously didn't pan out. He'll look back on his career and have regrets, I think. No doubt about it. But on his day, absolutely unplayable. So yeah, Hatton Ben Arthur for me. But Ginola, to be fair, Ginola close second. I just wish Ginola had stayed at Newcastle longer. I think it's crazy when you look back. I think he didn't he make something like 20 or 30 appearances for us or something. That's like hardly the amount of games that you would think. Because again, another great talent, great player.
That's why I always want Robert over.
Robert was superb.
Purely for that reason, because Robert was here a lot longer. The amount of goals and assists that he created for Shearer and Bellamy was just on another level. But yeah, Ginola, in terms of individual skill, he was miles better than Robert. But what he produced for us, he brought us back to Champions League football, and it was class. And
he could hit a ball. Just ask Bernard. All about that.
Absolutely.
An honourable mention to Rob Lee, actually, in that from in the mix in that as well. But I think, we're not allowed to mention Bruno, but I think Bruno would overtake my selection now. But we won't talk about it.
Nope, we'll save it for another show. We don't talk about Bruno. So we've got two more questions. Russell Thompson asks for the Cube, do we get any silverware within the next 4 seasons? I'm going to kick that off, and I'm going to say if it's in the next 4 seasons, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see how
it don't
happen.
You don't see how it can't happen.
I don't see how we can't win silverware in the next 4 years.
I agree.
Yeah. Yes. Especially from the message from the chairman. Yeah. Go on. Why not? All the way around.
I'm gonna put a different spin on this. Slight ad question. This isn't from Russell. So Russell, apologies for jumping on your question, but little yes no for you boys. Do we get a trophy before we get top 4?
No, we get top 4 first.
No, I think we can get a trophy before top 4. Yeah.
Do you reckon we'll get a trophy before May? Do you reckon we'll get a trophy before May, Peter?
I said it on one of our other shows. I don't see why not. I just don't see why not. Lesser teams with lesser quality of players have got to finals of FA Cups or finals of League Cups. There's no reason why we can't. It's about the look of the draw.
And injuries.
And the injuries as well, particularly in this. I'll be honest with you, this season for us is the perfect time for us to get to a cup final because of the amount of games over a short period of time that all the top European teams are playing. You can see in Europe that there's a lot of inconsistencies in terms of performances or results for a lot of teams. We can benefit from that because we're not committed to that, and it will even get worse after the World Cup. So why not?
Yeah. Very good. And then the last question we've got, which is from Ben Feakston. He says, who do you reckon will join in January? Or if you like, Ben, and I'm going to put it a bit more broader for the lads, if you can't name a player, which if you're only allowed one position to upgrade, which position do you sign? Which position? If you're speaking to the scouting department and you're saying, like, we need this position to be updated, which position would it be?
I still think we need someone in, and I know people probably say the same, that creative midfield role, number 10, sort of like that's probably realistically we'll need extra quality. Obviously, you've seen with Shelby being out, it's been Willock or Sean Longstaff as that third centre midfielder. You know, the way Bruno's first name on the team sheet, then you've got Joe Linton, a close second when he's fit on his day. You still want that extra creativity. You don't want to rely on Bruno too much all the time. Yes, he's still young, he's still learning, he's a fantastic player, he's phenomenal. But you also need to release that pressure from him as well. You can't always have it on him. So I still think we need that creative spark in the middle of the park.
Yeah. And a player, Richie?
I'd have to agree with what Pete's going to say, and that'd be James Maddison. Hands down. He's been phenomenal this season already.
In a very poor Leicester
I can't remember. It might have been Daz that touched on in a previous show. You've got to remember that everyone is down tools pretty much at Leicester, but Maddison's been one of the only ones that is he's kept his head above the water and he's fighting the cause at Leicester. Whether that's he's fighting for Leicester cause or whether he's fighting for his own cause to try and get one, a World Cup place, or two, a move in January. You know, but at the end of the day, he's still delivering on a weekly basis for a really, really poor Leicester side.
I think it's fair to say as well, isn't it, Rich, that Maddison made it quite clear that he was interested in the move. He wanted the move.
Newcastle wouldn't have made it public if James Maddison didn't want the move,
and they wouldn't have gone in twice.
Yeah.
Pete.
Yeah, there's three players, and the only reason I say three players is because, you know, if Maddison continues to perform like this, I think it's going to be more difficult for us to get him out of Leicester, purely because if Leicester don't keep the performances up and they keep doing what they did on Saturday and losing to Bournemouth, they're just not going to want to sell him because of the likelihood of them actually getting realistically dragged into a relegation fight. So I'll give you three players, and you'll know them all anyway. But James Maddison is my number one for obvious reasons. Second is Moussa Diaby at Leverkusen. Scored a wonder goal. I talked about it the other day. Scored a great goal at the weekend, and I think he got 2 assists as well. Just outstanding performance. And he seems back to his best. And the other one is Cody Gakpo, who is linked with other clubs, linked to Leeds. Got a good relationship, or his agent has, with Man United, and they were really interested in him in the summer. So that might be difficult, but they're three players. And the reason being is that, one, they could all play more than one position, and that's what Eddie Howe likes. And two, for the point that Richie made, in that what we need to do to move forward is to have more than one match winner in the team. You want 3 or 4. We've got Alisson Maximin, he was injured. Then we had Bruno that was injured at the same time. We literally had nobody else, and that's why we struggled for a chunk of time. We can have good goal scorers like Isak, but if you haven't got the supply, they're not going to get the goals. So if you had a Maddison, you'd still be confident in creating chances and winning games in those games. Moussa Diaby the same, Gakpo the same as well. And so that's what we need to be building as a team, those match winners across the team, and then eventually the squad. So that's why I think
an interesting one on that one. I didn't touch on the wingers, but obviously I know that we discussed that quite a lot, Gakpo and Diaby. I'd love to go for Diaby, but I think the way that Almiron's really kicked on this year, it's sort of masked the fact that we really need. It's clear that the number 10 will. But for me, if you couldn't get Maddison, but as Pete just mentioned, with people like Diaby and Gakpo, right? What's to say you couldn't bring Almiron back into the middle where he was used to playing for Paraguay as a number 10?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Or switching, but it's a good point you make, and the only thing, the one thing I'll say to that is that we had the same situation with Newcastle fans in the summer, as where we had a supremely talented Dan Burn playing very well, and everyone was going, apart from us, everyone was going, we don't need Sven Botman, we've got Dan Burn. And now look what happens. Everyone's now saying Sven Botman cannot be dropped, because what you're doing, you're going up in levels. Yes, a player might be in form and they might be playing well for a period of time, but there may well be a drop-off. I love what Miguel Almiron's doing at the moment. I think we all do. We're all giving him his flowers. He deserves it because he him. But if you don't go out there and say, right, we're going to get this player to come in, if you want to keep your place, you need to keep performing at that level. And we don't get that player in January, and he goes back and thinks, oh, I'm playing every week now, so I just kind of sit back. And if I don't have a great game, I'm still in the team. You want to keep those players on their toes. And I think I hope that's what Eddie Howe is going to do, is keep those players on their toes. Even though they're playing well, we're going to bring these guys in because we want to improve the team. You need to keep playing well if you're going to keep your place.
And you know what, Pete? It's a great point you make, because we've spoken, haven't we, about building a squad and having a squad capable of challenging on all fronts. And you can't bring in the likes of Moussa Diaby and say, great, he's going to play 40 games this season, because there's a strong chance that probably won't happen. But imagine if we had, a Gakpo or a Moussa Diaby playing, week in, week out, you would hope. And then you've got someone like Miggy on the bench to come on and really make that difference. Because right now, if Miggy gets injured, let's be honest, and this is no disrespect to anyone, we're going forwards with Ryan Fraser and Jacob Murphy. So you then start going, okay, that looks a little bit weak. If you've got a Moussa Diaby or a Gakpo playing on the wing, you've then got, oh, it's all right, we've got Miggy
options
there.
Yeah. And I don't, linked in what you were saying, Pete, I don't think this new Newcastle are going to rest in the laurels. They're not going to be like the Newcastle of old, finishing 5th spot and then only upgrade the squad by bringing in Vernon and Anita. They're going to push on, and each transfer window push on as well. And I'll answer the question as well, Chris, and I'm going to go with someone different, and mainly because I watched a few YouTube clips of him, and I really like this guy now, Andre Santos from Vasco da Gama. He looks really, really good. He reminded me a bit of Bruno, Brazilian as well, of course. So a young Bruno, I'll take him.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll add on to that question what Pete said there, because obviously we've discussed various names there. How many signings do you actually think Newcastle will go for in January? See, for me, I don't think we'll add as many as we did last January, because we're not necessarily in that, dire need. I'm going to say 2.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2 as well.
I reckon a max of 2. I don't think it's going to go more than 2, and I think there'll be 2 top quality players. And for me, by the way, just to add in, the 2 that you've all mentioned, they'd be the ones I'd go for. I'd go for Maddison as the top one, and then if not, I'd go for Diaby or both. I'm being greedy. If they're the 2, imagine they're the 2 we bring in.
Do you know what, Chris? The good thing is about the Diaby situation, right? Is they could be out of the Champions League by January, and also Leverkusen not having a terrible season, having an awful season in the Bundesliga. So it could be an ideal time to bring him across.
I'm going to say something slightly different. I'm going to say we're going to sign 2 players maximum, but I think one of them is going to be a loan.
Loan to buy, Pete.
Yeah, loan to buy. And there was a little something that I read today that brought up another name that we haven't talked about that we did in the summer, and that was Christian Pulisic. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's back on the radar with a loan with a view to buy, because he's not really playing at Chelsea, not the way he wants to. He's an option there, and it'll be about options, because it'll be about what we can get. But I think they'll go big on one signing. Who that is, it could be any one of who we've just said, and then they'll look for probably a loan, because we haven't actioned the loan market yet, and after the World Cup, like you've just mentioned, you've made a really good point. After the World Cup, and after teams are out of Europe, we could snap some of those players up that are no longer going to be getting regular football. So it could be very, very interesting. But yeah, that's what I think.
I've just seen the comment there below from Dave Carmichael. Dave, as you know, mate, congratulations. You've won that prize, and you're asking how you contact us. Drop us a DM on Twitter. Let us know if you're on Twitter. I'm assuming you are, but if you're not, obviously, let us know. But yeah, if you go into the DM section on Twitter for Loads of Mag NUFC, drop us a DM, and then we can get in touch and arrange.
Or any one of us.
Any one of us. Yeah,
it'll help you out.
Absolutely.
Cool. I think, is there any more questions, or is that it for tonight?
That was the final question, I think. Yeah, I think we're all done in terms of the questions. I'm just whizzing through now just to see if Just to see if there's any other.
I see people having a poke at my Dave Batty comment because it's still he cost us the league, but he was still some player.
David Batty, yeah, I was a big fan of David Batty. Good player, very good player.
Yeah, it was.
Right. We have to tell people what's happening during the week. And I don't have the poster ready, Pete, but we're going to have an away days on Friday.
Yeah, away days is back, and I've just got some information through. So the guest might be expanding slightly, but we'll talk about that nearer the time. Yeah, we're back Friday 7:45, and we've got Talk of the Devils on. So Keane, who joined us last season, is on again. Great lad, knows his stuff. Particularly about Newcastle as well as Man United. So we'll have a good chat about that and look ahead to the game. Speaking to some Man United fans, they are nervous. They are very, very nervous.
Should be.
Yeah, I'm loving every second of it because
Pete, you're going to the game, aren't you, on Sunday?
Yeah.
Before we finish up, we were talking earlier saying, we've got nothing to fear, and hopefully we're getting Man United's face and really put them under pressure at Old Trafford, because we know the crowds aren't happy as things stand. They're not in the place in the league where they'd want to be. How are you feeling in terms of pre-match, if you like? Are you feeling as confident as what we are? Do you think that we've got a great chance of picking up 3 points? I was saying to Richie and Daz earlier that I was talking to my dad, and he said to me, and really stood out to me, he said this game's kind of like a litmus test for us, because we played Man City and obviously nearly won. We were 3-1 up, having gone 1-0 down. We then played Liverpool, and we had no Wilson, no Maxi, no Bruno, no Shaw, no Botman. But we're now going into this Man United game with it is a bit of a free hit for us, but then equally you're looking at it and you go, and we've got hardly any injuries bar Isak. And they're going to be nervous. And if we really go at them in the first half and manage, score or whatever, we could quickly turn that crowd around, that Old Trafford crowd. I mean, how are you feeling about the game? Obviously, we know you're going, but are you feeling confident?
100%. I've been confident for a while, Chris, about this game. And yeah, we had a little dip in form, but I'm confident about it. We go in, and I think Isak will be on the bench. I think he'll be in the squad at the weekend. And that's just my personal opinion. Could be wrong. I think he could be back at the weekend, and so I think we'll have all but Shelby to choose from going into that game. And the one thing, my one overriding feeling about this game is that our defense is better than theirs.
Yeah.
And that is a big thing going into this game, is that our defense, regardless of who it is, Varane, Maguire, Martinez, Lindelof, we have a better defensive unit than they do. Take history out of it, we are better performing than them. So I think we can score more goals than them. Going into that game now. Yeah, Old Trafford crowd and atmosphere, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's great at times, not always. But if we get the first goal, it could be.
Do you see it as an advantage that Anthony, because clearly Erik ten Hag, I think it's obvious and fair to say, Erik ten Hag doesn't really fancy Ronaldo in terms of how he wants to play. And we all know Ronaldo is supremely talented, but we know that he's in the latter stage of his career, and we know that he's not going to give you the same press that maybe he's after, and maybe that's why he's been going with Martial, he's been going with Rashford, but it seems now that he's not going to have a choice, and he's going to have to go with Ronaldo at the weekend. Do you think that plays into our hands? Because we've seen, if things aren't going Cristiano Ronaldo's way, and potentially Shaw and Botman can play well against him and nullify the threat of Cristiano Ronaldo. Do you think that will play into our hands in terms of us being able to defend easier against him?
I think there's, look, how I feel about Cristiano Ronaldo. I love the guy. He's had an unbelievable career. But I actually think in game we would prefer to play against him because he's easily marked. In terms of, he only plays in a small space. And I think he's easily marked in that game. It's still not a guarantee that he's going to start, though, because they could quite easily play Rashford down the middle and Jadon Sancho on the left. So, with Anthony on the right. So they could still change that up, even with Martial being injured. But I think he may start after scoring the winning goal. I think it would be very difficult for him not to start. But I'm not overly worried about that because of our defensive unit being so good. If I was Man United, I'd be worried about how many we're going to concede on Sunday rather than the other way around. Because we're flying, we're at it. And you've got a shithouse in Wilson that's going to create havoc. I just know it. He's just going to create havoc in that defensive line. And it'll be interesting to see Bruno coming up against either Fred or Casemiro. Hope the Brazilian coach is watching, because Bruno still doesn't get a regular start in the Brazil team. And he should, because he's miles ahead of Fred. So
surely he's going to watch the game, Pete. Well, especially with Big Joe Linton. Surely.
Yeah, but again, another player. If Joe Linton comes in, I don't know if you've talked about it, if he comes in and has a stormer against the likes of Casemiro and Fred and maybe gets a goal or two, he's putting himself in the shop window, because that's the biggest
tattoo for Daz time.
It's
still a lot of criteria,
Chris.
That has to happen. Look, that was a sample of away days. That was a sample of away days coming up on Friday, and we also have a reaction show on probably Sunday night as well, and that's the one I do have the poster ready for. So that's coming up on Sunday after the game, obviously, because we can't talk about it otherwise. But yeah, that is our show for tonight, I think. Thanks everyone that joined us on the show. Thanks to Jimmy, thanks to Paul, thanks to Darren, thanks to Pete for coming on as well. And let's finish on the how and let everyone go and try and touch a player's head before the night's out. Good night, everybody. See you later. Bye bye.